Today I'm teaching you a move called Bloom. There is one prerequisite cardistry move that you need to know coming into this, which is the Pharaoh Shuffle. And that's when you can take a deck of cards, cut it in half, and shuffle them one by one every other, just like this. And you don't have to be at the point where you can do it perfectly every other, but the more perfect it is, the more beautiful this cardistry move is gonna look. And if you're wanting to use the same deck of cards that I'm using, these are the Orbit V8Ps, and I'll link them in the description below. But without any further ado, this is the Bloom cardistry tutorial. Now for the tutorial, don't forget that the one prerequisite move that you do need to know is the Pharaoh Shuffle, which looks like this. You shuffle them every other, just like that. And if you haven't learned it already, I'll link a tutorial to it down in the description below. So once you've done the Pharaoh Shuffle, you're going to push the cards together, but only most of the way. You're gonna push them together, and now it looks like this. It is almost all the way together, but you can still see both the value and the indices on both sides. Of course, on this side, you're gonna be able to see the whole card, but clearly on this side, you can only see the values and the indices, and then after that, the rest of it is covered by that next card. So it's looking like this. Now, because there's 52 cards, you're gonna have one on top on this side, and you're gonna have one on top on this side, and they're gonna be on opposite sides. So on this side, it's on the top, and on this side, it's on the bottom. The side that has the card on top will be in your dominant hand. The side that has the card on the bottom will be in your non-dominant hand. Since I'm a righty, here's what I'm going to do. With my right hand, I'm going to put my ring finger on this outside short edge here. It'll look just like that. My thumb will come to the bottom, and then my middle and pointer finger will be on top. Your pinky will be off, and altogether it should look like this. Your left hand will be similar, where your ring finger goes on this outside, your thumb goes on the top, middle goes on the bottom, except for your pointer finger is gonna be curled around the back side and touching the back of it. So from the other side, it will look like this. Your dominant hand pointer finger is only on this side to be able to make sure that your left hand can adjust, because if you take that pinky off, and then you try to adjust your left hand, the cards will all fall. Once your left hand is in position, now you can take that right hand pointer finger off and curl it around the back the same way that you're doing with your left hand. So for reference, right now my right hand has my pointer finger on top. I then get my left hand adjusted to where I need it to be, and then I can curl my pointer finger around the back. Now, one last thing to notice before you get into the actual move itself, notice that these cards on the end, you can squeeze them together. And the same for the cards on the other side. That's going to be very important in a second. Now get into your grip, and what you're gonna do is you're going to push up with your right thumb and push up with your left middle finger. You're going to separate the two, making almost an A shape, which will look like this. Once you've got them to this point and they're almost completely at a 90-degree angle, you're going to pull with your left ring finger and your right ring finger toward the deck. What this is gonna do is it's gonna pinch that bottom part like I told you about before, making that V shape. And if you do it at the same time with both hands, while moving the cards out like this and separating them, because they're starting to get separated, but now you're also pinching at the bottom, that's bringing the bottom closer together and the top farther apart, which now makes it look like this. Now to get them even farther apart, push them up against each other, rising one above the other, whichever way you want to do it. Or you can also loosen up a little bit with your thumbs and then your middle fingers, which also makes it widen a little bit more. Now the reason I had those outside cards where I had them is that way your right pointer finger and your left pointer finger can make sure they don't all fall apart. Because if when you originally did it, you didn't have the right on the top and the back on the bottom, and you flipped it like this, now when you do Bloom, you're gonna have a lot of issues. So you start to do Bloom, and my right pointer finger is no longer gonna be contacting that outside card. My left pointer finger is no longer contacting that outside card, and it makes it way more difficult to be able to control, because now you have one random card on this side, this card right here that my ring finger's touching, and one random card over here, that one right there, that can now do whatever they want to. So again, make sure it looks like this, start to pull up, and once you get to this point, you pinch at the bottom, release a little bit, and again, it can rest on those pointer fingers if you need it to, and altogether it should start to widen up like that. Once you've got it as wide as you want it to be, you can then separate the two. This is where you really want to squeeze with your thumb and middle finger, and then to be able to close it up, you're going to rotate your dominant hand backwards, put one on top of the other, and then push together with your pointer fingers. And that should line up the entire deck. Now from the other side, we're going to pull up, and once we get to about here, I'll start letting it go a little bit, pulling down with those ring fingers, it starts to open up. I can loosen up a little bit, and even if I need to, rest it on those pointer fingers on the outside right here, let that open up. Once I get it as open as I want it to, I can then separate them, making sure I'm squeezing tightly, rotate them, that way my right hand came back, makes this sort of S shape, push down together with my pointer fingers, rotate it over, and you're done. Now the Pharaoh Shuffle has way more functions than just Bloom. One of my favorites is a combo between Friffle, which looks like this, and Cascade, which looks like that. And I made a video showing my top 5 ways to use the Pharaoh Shuffle, and I'll link that video right here. If you want to pick up these playing cards, it'll be up here. And of course, make sure to subscribe if you like cardistry tutorials just like this one. I'll catch you guys in the next video. This is CPM, signing off.